Welcome. The purpose of this vodcast is to explain the timeline assignment you will be completing with the text American Revolution, A Continental History, 1750 to 1804 by Alan Taylor. To receive instructions on this assignment, you must first visit youcanteach.org. That's youcanteach.org. On arrival, you will need to open the D2T, or Driven to Teach, Mid-Atlantic Region tab. Scroll down the page and visit the Flipped Classroom Reading and Assignments. On arrival on the Readings and Textbook Assignment page, scroll down the Alan Taylor American Revolution, A Continental History hyperlink or tab. Instructions for this assignment are found on this page. Prior to going over the steps for completion of this assignment, I'm going to briefly summarize what the assignment entails and then show you an example of a completed timeline. Please follow along with me while I read the summary of the assignment. Prior to the field seminar, participants will read their selected portion of the text and identify 5 to 10 most significant events that occurred during the era they chose during the pre-field seminar. Participants will complete the forms entitled A Timeline of the American Revolution for each separate event that they highlight. The form is shared digitally on the website and will be shared with all members of the seminar. Each event must include a headline, a synopsis, an evaluation, and a video or photo that best encapsulates the event. Forms inputted online will be downloaded, evaluated, and graded on May 9th. Completed timelines will be referenced during the field seminar. Prior to going over the step-by-step instructions, I'm going to show you what a finished timeline might look like using the software we will be using. You can reference this timeline by hyperlinking on the sample timeline for reference. This timeline was completed in a previous seminar, the focus of which was civil rights and Civil War. When we complete our timeline, you will have an opportunity to choose a background for your slide. You will choose media that supports your content. That can include films, as you see on the left here, or pictures, as you see on the left on this slide. It will include the dates of that event, as you see on the top of the page, and it will include a summary of those events. Different events on the timeline can be accessed by clicking on the links that you see below. So let's get started creating our assignment. As you scroll down the page, you will find instructions that say Timeline Assignment Instructions for Completion. I'm actually going to start at the end, because at the end I gave you some critical advice, and that is it is strongly recommended that participants research and compile the information in a separate document prior to completing the form below. When ready to post, they need only copy and paste the required information for each question. So I'm going to go ahead and follow my own advice, and I'm going to start by copying what I need to know. There we go. Copy that, and I'm going to paste it. So what do I need to find out? Well, I'm going to read the text I have. And if you've forgotten what text that was, remember you can find it back here where you identified the pages you wanted to read in the Alan Taylor textbook. Now, currently there are no names there because we have yet to meet. But once we meet, your name will appear to the right of the reading you selected. So, back to our instructions. I'm going to read that selected text, and as I do so, I'm going to identify 5 or 10 of the most significant events or critical information that was shared in those pages I selected. Typically, they run from 10 to 16 pages. For each event, each of those 5 to 10 things, I'm going to gather the information I have below here. I need to have the month, day, time, when the event began. Now, of those, the only one that I have to have for sure is the year, question A. But it's helpful if I have that other information. So if it's available, find it. And then I need to have the ending year. Now for both of those, it says those dates need to be posted with numbers. So not the 1st of June, just the number 1, or not June, but the number 6. So nothing in that portion of the spreadsheet is going to be put in alphabetically. It's all going to be put in numerically. So I have to gather that information, and then I need to create and write a title for each event. Next, number 2, I need to post a 1-paragraph synopsis or summary of each of my events. Those summaries need to include the following. They need to be approximately in length, and each summary needs to have what happened, who was involved, where it happened, why it happened, and I have to say why this event was significant. And if I can find relevant quotes, or if there are quotes in the reading, I'm going to use those. Let's go ahead and do that part. Okay, to model this for you, I've taken a reading off of an online source. Now you're going to be using the book. I've taken the online, this reading. It's 6 pages long. Now your readings are typically 10 to 16 pages long. And I'm going to go through here and highlight the things that I think are most important. It might be an event. It might be an individual who did something really significant, something that's going to change the story, the course of American history. And as I do so, I'm going to go in and highlight those. So here's that same reading sometime later. I've gone through and I've highlighted the things that I think are most important. I then went through and took those things that I thought were really important and I summarized them, because this finished piece can only be about long. Now, I have lots of information in here. I'm only going to do this on one event. These other pieces in here may be a second or third or fourth event, but I'm going to start about talking about the Quebec Act. And principally, I'm going to talk about why it was passed, what were the components of it, and why did it anger the Americans. So as I was reading through here, I was looking for those things that told me that, and I highlighted those in yellow. I then went through, and if I were reading this in the book, I would write in the margins. So I highlighted this, and I said the Quebec Act did this. And I highlighted this, and I said basically the Ohio River Valley went to Quebec. And I highlighted this, and I said Catholics did not have to accept Protestantism. And I highlighted this, and I said Catholics given freedom of religion. So each piece that I had highlighted, I summarized in my own words. And while I was looking for this, I was trying to gather all those pieces of information that I have to have for the timeline. Again, what do those include? I needed dates, ending dates. I need to write a title. I needed to write a summary. Who, what, where, why. It had to be clear. And if there were quotes, I had to have those in there as well. So these 2 paragraphs here are a summary of everything I had. So now I'm going to take this off. I want to just see if I've got myself to around 100 words. I don't want to get too much longer than that. So my tools and 121. I don't dare go any smaller. So we're about 121. We're going to be okay. So I've got my text, and now I have to find dates. I have to come up with a headline, and I need to look for some additional information. So I started June 2nd, 1774. So this ended on July 4th, 1776. Now I need a headline. So let's take a second to look at that headline. It needs to be catchy, intriguing, and brief. Okay, so I think I've come up with a headline that's catchy, intriguing, and brief. The Quebecois defeat the colonists with legislation. I've got my dates, number 1. I've got my ending dates, number 2. Number 3, I have a title and a headline. I have a summary that's approximately 75 to 125 words in length. It includes what happened, where it happened, why it happened. I say why it's significant. So I need to have supportive media that I can post. Now you'll remember from the first of this video, you can post videos, YouTube videos, you can post pictures. To make sure I use media that will be supported, I'm going to go to this list real quickly and check and see what I can use. Now, having looked at that list, I'm going to identify the media I want. So here's my media, and my source is the actual URL. I've got supportive media, I have a media source, I need a caption. I've created a caption, setting the stage for the Quebec Act. Set the background of the slide to a specific color or an image. See here for various values and colors. So I could, if I wish, come in here and I can select a specific color I want. Say I want to do a red color. I would grab that code. I'm just going to paste that color code there. Now I might want to use a picture because I used a video and I'm thinking maybe I can find a picture that shows like a picture of the Ohio River Valley or what was won in the Quebec Act. So I'm just going to look quickly and see if I can find a picture. Now again, whatever picture I use has to be the correct media type. So I'm going to grab the image address, not the picture, but the image address. I can't do them both. Instead of doing the color background, I'm going to use the image address. The last thing it says, identify and post the category or group in column Q that best defines the event. That's the only one. I really can't do it advanced because I have to look at it when I'm inputting it. Now, with that information gathered, let me show you how you input it. This is going to be the first of my events. So I'm going to start by giving my name. Next. So note here that if it has the required star, you have to input that. So the first thing I need, and I have to have it, I have a star on here, is the year of event. So I'm going to look at my information, and it's June 2nd, 1774. Now remember, I'm only going to put the year, and it has to be all numerical. Month of the event. So this is June, but I cannot type in June. Instead, I have to put the month of June, and that's 6. If you do not have a specific month, that might be something like unrest continues in Quebec. Okay, for that, I'm going to use a year, not a month. But in this case, I have a specific month, so I'm going to put the number. The next is the day of the event, 2nd, and I don't put second, I just put 2. No alphabet here, just all numerical. And time of the event, I don't have that, but you'll notice it's not starred, so I don't have to have that. Now I'm going to input ending dates and numbers. Ending year of the event. Though optional, I have a year here. Ending month of the event. So this is in July, so I put the number. Again, no alphabet. Ending date of the event. Ending time of the event, I don't have one. So I'm going to go next. Third section. Information, headlines, and text. Please read all instructions prior to completing the form. I need my headline. So I have my headline. I go ahead and copy that, and I'll input my headline. That is required. The event details. That's all that informational text I wrote. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to input that in K. I'll go to next. Now I have media and graphics. Input media that highlights your selected event. Media includes pictures, audio, or online videos. In addition, you may add a unique background that supports your content. Be sure to source all media. The only thing I said previously you could not input without being on here was the category of the event. So I have to choose, is it a battle? Is it an individual? Is it a background to revolution, consequences of revolution, or other? And I know this is going to be background to revolution. And then I'm going to submit it. And I now have one of my 5 to 10 events completed. Now, this information comes into a spreadsheet that we're going to be using with the JS timelines to create a website that tells the story of the background, the revolution itself, and the consequences of the American Revolution. I'm excited to see our finished product and what we create.